Well, the store, of course, just automatically we lost the grocery store, so people had to go elsewhere to shop. So it took them to Holstein, Cherokee, and Sioux City instead of Correctionville. It hurt all of downtown when we lost the grocery store. To make Correctionville viable for the long term, we needed a grocery store. It's just one of those businesses you have to have downtown to anchor the downtown. So early in 2010 we started having meetings about it. We formed a not-for-profit corporation called Said Corp Inc. We then took on, became a not-for-profit corporation that really got serious about fundraising. We flew to different places to talk to stores in cities our size. And, it was an even possibility for one to make it in the town our size. There were hours spent. We had community meetings about it. Eventually fundraisers. We had just short of, about $120,000 of fundraisers and donations to the community. Pancake breakfasts, hot dog cookouts, the chili. We had a first annual, we hope, chili cooking and salsa cook-off. Those were we sold raffle tickets on the site, on beef. We got a little bit of everything. There's been a lot of support in the area around Correctionville. It kind of got us, there were times where, if we didn't raise a certain amount of money, we just said if there's not enough interest in it to get, donations, then we just need to shut it down. But we were always able to kind of, see some light at the end of the table.
Where did the rest of the funds come from?
They came from loans and grants.
We entered about a year ago.
Okay.
Is when we finally, me and Dawn had kicked the idea around for a few months before that. The community had a information night one night, and there was a lot of people in town that were a little nervous about who might be running the store. And once we came forward and made it public at the meeting, I think the community got a big sigh of relief that it's a local person. And I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but I think after Dawn and I were announced as going to be managers of the store, that more funds became available.
It was a big relief. People knew, these guys have lived here their whole lives. And people, the community knows them. So.
And my wife's parents ran the grocery store that used to sit on this site, and her grandparents also.
Yeah, the old store is right next to the bank over here.
And the fire done enough damage to that building to make it unfeasible to go in and try to restore.
We initially looked into that, when we first started it, between the damage done to it, it made more sense to build a new store versus the cost. Plus, there was going to be a real problem with getting a clear title to it. Just formed out of a need to get an entity that was going to be the driving force behind the store. And we just felt we needed that kind of structure and a not-for-profit status in order to accept donations and get grants and things like that. And so it just formed out of those individuals that were kind of on the initial committees were made board members.
As far as the construction of the building, pouring of cement, cleaning freezers,
shelves,
coolers, and shelves, that was all volunteer.
We estimate, I don't know, Mark, I might be wrong. The volunteer efforts probably saved $100,000 to $200,000 cost of the building and the shelving, and it was just unbelievable. We had people actually literally here every day.
Pretty much.
And without that, it wouldn't have been feasible. Found stores that were closing out or whatever, they had shelving that they wanted to get rid of, and coolers and freezers, and were able to purchase those at greatly reduced prices. And we had a truck driver who was willing to haul those things back here free, and unfortunately, I don't know if that needs to be part of the article, but 2 of those people were killed in a plane crash. This Galen Canuck is in the burn unit down at Lincoln, Nebraska, yet fighting for his life after that plane crash. Galen was on part of SEDCorp, the electrician who was the primary electrician on the job, and this truck driver who just volunteered to haul equipment back to us.
He donated his time and his trucks to haul equipment around for the store.
They were involved in a plane crash on December 1st.
It's been a really big community success. I mean, everybody draw together, and probably the biggest challenge is going to be to stay competitive with prices. You know, as fuel rises, grocery prices are going to rise, and it is going to be, I see that as the biggest hurdle going on down the road. They say the 2 things to make a grocery store successful: fresh produce and a nice selection, and fresh cut meat, and have as much of a variety of different cuts of meat as possible.
And I think they've got a real friendly staff.
You'll see that there's a few holes here and there in the store, and I kind of planned it that way because I want the community and the customers to be able to come to me, and if I get enough requests for something new to bring into the store, I've got room to put it somewhere. Those 2 wagons, I built those by myself about 20 years ago. That's kind of the inspiration for the name of the store. And the logo, I guess. The one, like I said. Pretty much, like, you know, HBC. As you go down, you get paper goods. Going down the aisle. At the end is all the pet food. A lot of the breads. Got some cookwares and stuff in this corner. Then the next 1, 2, 3, 3.5 aisles is your general merchandise. And what I've heard from the community and customers and that, they're really pleased with the selections that we have. So that's a big plus for us. Along this north wall, we got 8 freezer doors here, and I've got 22 freezer doors over on the other end of the store. A lot of the smaller stores we had talked to said they wished they had more freezer space.
Okay.
They said that's the big demand right now, is frozen, ready to go stuff. So we got kind of creative ideas for certain things. Try to, I don't know, keep it that, kind of give it that old west Mercantile feel. You know, a wide range of produce, goods. Another thing that has wowed the community and customers is the selection of fresh cut meat. There is a little bit of pre-packaged, but most everything in this case I do back in that back room.
I go to Holstein or Ida Grove if I just needed something quick. Otherwise, we'd always have to drive to Sioux City.
I actually worked with a guy from a company out of Sioux Falls, and he came down, and for the most part my training on the computers was all over the phone with him, so it was a lot of self-learning. The registers were pretty easy. He came down one day, it took about 20 minutes, and I pretty much had that down. Those were the easy part. That was the computer stuff. I'm still learning daily. It's a daily learning process.
Last week, when everybody was coming in for the first time, they grabbed a shopping cart, come right around here, and everybody was just like, wow, look at what they got. You know, everybody just, they're happy with what they see. And that's hopefully what keeps them coming back.